A stolen Frankfort police badge and gun are back where they belong after a tip called into the Franklin County Sheriff's Office led to the safe recovery of those items.
Rolling our way into the weekend on a gorgeous fall note across central and eastern Kentucky, but I've got even cooler temperatures showing up in your 7-day forecast just ahead.
An update on a Kentucky superintendent creating an online stir by appearing to be naked while posing for pictures. We'll have more on how the school board is reacting.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good afternoon to you. I'm Amber Philpott reporting. Jennifer has the afternoon off. We are following breaking news out of Jessamine County. Police say a child has been taken to the hospital after being hit by a car this afternoon. Nicholasville police say it happened along Chestnut Street in Nicholasville. They say the driver didn't stop after the child was hit. Police say the child is 3 or 4 years old. They say the child was alert and talking to them when they arrived. Nicholasville police have taken the driver who hit that child into custody, but there's no word on any charges at this time. We'll have an update on WKYT News at 5. Well, what a beautiful start to our weekend and the opening night of high school football. The weather is simply perfect out there for our Friday night. WKYT's chief meteorologist Chris Bailey joins us now with more on the rest of our weekend. We all want to know if we can expect more great weather.
You know what? It continues to just be absolutely perfect out there. And for the most part, your weekend is in pretty good shape. But today, those thermometers this morning dropped way down there across much of central and eastern Kentucky. Look at the numbers in Mount Sterling and Frankfort. About 52 degrees this morning. Cynthiana, Stanford, McKee at 53. Lexington officially 54 degrees. Likewise into Whitley City and down into the Harrodsburg area. Winchester, Moorhead checking in at 55 degrees. Good looking sky that is out there now. You've got some of those high thin cirrus clouds giving what amounts to basically almost a little rainbow effect to some of the clouds. We'll show you that here in just a little bit. Temperatures into the mid and upper 70s yet again across central and eastern Kentucky. Heading out to the high school football games this evening, those numbers will be into the mid 70s at kickoff, dropping into the mid and upper 60s by the time the second half rolls around. A little bit of high cloud cover out there. That's about all she wrote, though. Focus of the forecast when I come back in just a few minutes, Amber. Even cooler air shows up as we go into next week. We'll track another fall cold front coming up.
Boy, it is certainly nice out there, Chris. Thank you. We are tracking some new developments in the theft of a gun and badge from a police officer. Someone stole the items out of the Frankfort officer's locked car earlier this week. The gun and badge have been recovered, and several people could be facing charges. Hillary Thornton has the details from Frankfort. It's our top story at 4.
Investigators say quickly getting the word out about that stolen police badge and handgun caused tips to pour in from the public. It was a tip called in here to the sheriff's office that put those items back where they belong.
We are very thankful to have this property back in our care and custody.
They're calling it a successful team effort. Information received by the sheriff's office leading to the safe recovery of a stolen Frankfort police officer's badge and department-issued handgun. Investigators are not releasing much information at this point, but do say both of those items were recovered at 2 separate locations, and they do plan to present the case next week to the grand jury. Sheriff Pat Melton says they anticipate that will result in the indictments of several suspects.
They were trying to move the gun and sell it quickly. Right now we've got an excellent case, I will tell you that.
Investigators say they now believe the theft was part of a rash of break-ins in several areas throughout the county and city, including Evergreen Estates, Highwoods, Silver Lakes, and Indian Hills. Sheriff Melton says besides probably noticing that it was a police car, he says he does not think the suspects had any idea what they were getting into or what exactly was in that gym bag. In Frankfort, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Police tell us they do not think the weapon or badge were used to commit any crimes. They tell us they plan to release more information, including the names of those involved, next week. We have an update today on a Kentucky superintendent who is creating an online buzz because of a picture posted online that some say is questionable. Science Hill Superintendent Rick Walker's daughter tweeted pictures of him in a bathtub surrounded by items or pictures of the boy band One Direction. Walker says he did nothing wrong, but some parents disagree. Last night, the school board called a special meeting to discuss the picture. We don't know what was said in that meeting because it was in a closed-door session, but we do know that no action was taken. The school board plans to meet again on Monday to decide if they will take action. Walker says he took those photos to help his 13-year-old daughter win tickets to a concert. A new request has been made by the Kentucky Human Rights Commission to remove the statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis from the state capitol. The commission said leaving the statue in the Capitol Rotunda is offensive to Kentucky citizens. It wants the statue moved to the Capitol Education Center or to the Kentucky History Center. Davis was a Kentucky native. The Historic Properties Advisory Commission, which has final authority over the statue, voted to keep it in the Capitol, but to add an educational context to it. We are working on a number of other stories for you on WKYT starting at 4:30. Sam Dick is in the newsroom now with a look at some of the news in progress. Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon, Amber. U.S. Senator and presidential candidate Rand Paul touring southern Kentucky today ahead of tomorrow's decision that could allow him to be both a re-election candidate and a presidential candidate next year. Right now, Senator Paul is seeking the Republican nomination for president, but he says he is managing to juggle his role as a senator. Tomorrow, Kentucky Republicans will decide if there is to be a caucus vote in March next year instead of a May primary. Paul's campaign has promised to take care of most of the cost if that happens.
There'll be a variety of fundings, and I pledge to make sure that there is enough, but there'll be a variety of funding. There will be fees for people to be candidates in the state, and that will pay for some of it. Many states actually collect some money on the day of the election just by passing a bag and asking people for $1 or $2. If you have 100,000 people vote and they put $1 or $2 in a bag, you actually wind up with enough money to pay for something like this. But we pledge to make up any difference that is required.
Senator Paul says he is confident that the caucus will happen as other states offer it, and it's simply a matter of fairness. You'll hear more from the senator coming up on WKYT News at 4:30. 2,000 University of Kentucky students moving in today. UK President Eli Capilouto greeting students, including a young man who moved to the U.S. from West Africa. He says he's worked hard to adjust to a new society here, learn the language, and earn good grades. Today's move-in is special for him and his family.
I was the only one who speaks French in the school, so I didn't have any translator. So I had to work really hard, harder than the other students, to be able to succeed. So this day, I mean, it's a success for me.
UK students begin class on Wednesday. It's also move-in day at Eastern Kentucky University. It's expected more than 2,400 students will move in. According to EKU officials, the freshman class for this fall is 2,860 out of a total enrollment of 16,500. This year's freshman class also includes 800 first-generation college students. That's more than 25% of the freshman class. More than 850 students are helping the freshmen get settled into their new digs at Keene Hall and Palmer Hall. We'll have more from Richmond on WKYT News at 4:30. That's a look at some of the news in progress. Amber, back to you.
Sam, thank you. Now to some stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Hackers have released more confidential material from the cheating website Ashley Madison. The new release includes double the information released earlier this week. Now government officials are investigating after about 15,000 email addresses traced back to government accounts. Defense Secretary Ashton Carter confirmed Thursday that the Pentagon is looking into some of the people on the list who use military addresses.
Of course it's an issue because conduct is very important, and we expect good conduct on the part of our people.
Ashley Madison is still operating, but traffic on its website dropped 40% in July when the hackers first threatened to release data unless the website shut down. Here in the Bluegrass, one Twitter user threatened to release the names of Kentucky mayors and teachers whose email accounts appeared on the website, but Twitter shut down that account this morning. Twitter has already suspended several other accounts that listed names of alleged Kentucky users of Ashley Madison. Some of those users had ky.gov email addresses. The state has since blocked access to the website, whose slogan is "Life is short, have an affair." Well, it is a frightening thought for people who love to be in the water. Health officials in Louisiana are keeping a close eye on water systems that have tested positive for a brain-eating amoeba. So far this year, 3 people have died from the amoeba, including one in California. Chelsea Edwards has more on how people can protect themselves.
The amoeba called Naegleria fowleri is found in warm freshwater such as lakes and rivers, but it can also be found in sediment. Health officials say you can't get infected drinking contaminated water. You can only get sick if the water goes up your nose.
It can be forced up the nose, cross into the brain, and begin to destroy brain tissue, unfortunately leading to death within a very short period of time.
The symptoms are very similar to meningitis and include headache, nausea, and vomiting, then stiff neck and confusion. So far this year, there have been 3 deadly cases of the brain-eating amoeba in the U.S., including a 21-year-old woman from California. Infections from the amoeba are rare, but almost always fatal. Experts say there are some things you can do to reduce your risk of exposure.
They might decide not to go swimming in water that's warm and untreated. Or if they go swimming, they might decide not to put their head underwater or not have water forced up their nose. If they wear nose clips, that might prevent some of that water being forced up.
Doctors also suggest to avoid diving and jumping into stagnant water. Chelsea Edwards, CBS News, Los Angeles.
From 2005 to 2014, there were 35 cases of the amoeba found. In recent years, 2 people survived after being treated with a new drug. There is some good news for college students, how you can save some money this semester. That's coming up in WKYT Money Watch. And a new survey confirms it's not just your workplace where adults are acting like children. That's ahead on WKYT News at 4.